From your first day of school to your last, from your first study session to those all-nighters, you've been preparing for this journey. You've been preparing for your next chapter of life. And now the Buckeye Public Library System is ready to help connect you with the resources, tools, and best practices you need to complete your college and career journey. Hello, and welcome to the Buckeye Public Library System program, College and Scholarship Roadmap, your tips and best practices. This program, we usually do every year around this time, is designed to help you identify ways that you can get the most out of your college investment. It's designed to help you find funding, as well as teach you different searching tips and best practices for applying. We know this can be a fun time, but it can also be a cumbersome, crazy time trying to figure this all out and navigate this road of finding the best college and finding scholarships. So we want to make sure to do our best to help inspire, engage, and connect you with as many resources and tips that we can to hopefully help your journey a little bit better. So my name's Janine Van Leeuwen. I'm looking forward to take this journey with you to connect you with the resources. I do also want to point out or let you know that everything you see today in this presentation will be available online. If you want to download this presentation so you have access to the links, you can do so. That link is going to be provided in the YouTube description box. So feel free to go ahead, click on that link and get this to make it a little bit easier for you to connect with the sources that we share with you today. So let's get going. So the first thing is I do love to start out with fascinating scholarship facts and stats. Why? Because these are the stats that teach us why it is that we need to do what we need to do right now when we're trying to find our colleges and find scholarships. So one of the first thing is it's important to know that actually the average amount of scholarships that a student will get if they are applying is about $7,400. Now this could be a one-out $7,400 scholarship, or it could be seven $1,000 scholarships and a $400 one. But on average, this is about the amount a student will get. As we all know, college is way more expensive than that. Another fact is only 0.2% of students who will receive the full ride or the $25,000, the larger scholarships. These scholarships do tend to be way more competitive. And it's important to look at that and understand that if you are going for that or you're banking on that, it's important to know what their stats are with that so that we can find some other resources and not just count on just the one. Another fun fact dealing with athletics is that there is actually over $2.9 billion awarded in scholarships annually. About that goes up and down a little bit. But even though $2.9 billion is given out, only 1.3% of the athletes will actually receive a full or partial athletic scholarship. So again, if you're banking on that full ride for that, know that this is a very competitive area. You probably are going to want to find some other resources or sources for scholarships. You may also want to figure out ways to save money and best invest, which we're going to be going over here in just a little bit. Another fact is 63.3%, this was in 2015-16, but 63.3% of undergraduate students actually received a certain type of scholarship. And this could be a business scholarship, a scholarship from a school, financial aid through the government. And so those stats were brought in. It takes a while for those stats. I know 16 seems a long time away, but for them to identify and confirm and get that info. But this is important to look that even though scholarships are competitive, over 63% of the students were receiving financial assistance in some way. So it is identified as a great need out there, and there is a lot of money out there. We need to just help you figure out where that is at and also ways to save on that money. And finally, 19.8 million students are projected to attend college in the fall of 2021. Are you going to be one of those 19.8 million students? If so, we want to make sure we do our best to give you that cutting edge of how you can apply, save, and get the most out of your college experience. Because again, it is an awesome, very awesome, incredible time. So step one, we want you to learn how to maximize your investment. Know what you want, and then find the colleges that offer it. Okay, so what do I mean by this? First, don't spend money on a degree that you won't use. You'd be amazing. If I was sitting in the room with you where I usually do this program, I would raise my hand or ask people to raise their hand if they actually, especially the parents in the room, if they went to school and still have the job that they went to school for the degree to earn. Majority of us say no. So we want to make sure that you are really taking time to figure out what degree it is that you want to use and can get jobs with. We want you to maximize your investment by not spending money on a degree that won't get you a job. You might actually love the job, you might want to go ahead and do it, um, but there may not be jobs out there for you, or it's a very competitive market for those jobs. It might be 1 in 1,000 people who apply for your job get the job. So we want to make sure you're well versed on that and understand what the realities are. That helps save you money. And of course, don't spend money on a degree or college you will not complete. Now, all three of these, I have a story to share, and this is going to make sense in a moment. There's actually out there a phrase that they're using is there is a college completion crisis. And what happens is students will pick a college or a degree and they'll start going and they'll get some scholarships to start with. And then a few things happen. One, they can't afford to finish, or two, they get into a college that they're really not happy with because they really don't like the career or the degree that they're going for. They really start to discover what they're trying to do at that point. And it's important that you're not doing that once you're paying. You want to maximize your investment up front. So here's a story I have a permission to share. It was a former student of mine. I used to teach, and one of these students I got to know actually. She was in high school, and I had worked with her on some other stuff. She was in theater, loved music, was incredible, is incredible, great talent, and you could see that that was the direction she was heading. And it was her senior year, and she went for scholarships, and she did get a nice scholarship for in-state, and she went to her orientation. Now school was still in session, and she came back, and we actually there was a rehearsal going on. She came back pretty excited, and I got to ask her some questions, asked how it went, and she goes, "It was good, it was good." But they did make me declare my major today. And I was like, "Really?" Because you hadn't been talking about that yet. So I asked her, what major did you choose? And she said, I chose special ed. And I looked at her, and here's the thing: special education, very important, great field. We need more people in that. But I had never heard her talk about special education. And I asked her that. I said, "Is this what you want?" And she goes, "Well, there are only four majors to choose from, and this one seemed the best because I do have a special ed student in the family, and I feel like I really do want to help people, and I feel like I could help them out. And out of the four majors, this one seemed the best one for me." Okay, so fast forward 2 years, she does go to the college. She does start to pursue that. Um, and then she comes to me later on, and she's like, and I was actually working at the library at this time, and she said, "Miss V, um, can you help me? I need to try to find some scholarships. I'm leaving the college I'm at." And I'm like, "Okay, why?" She goes, "I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with the degree I'm pursuing. I don't feel like I can do this for the rest of my life." And I asked, "What do you want to do?" And it wasn't what she had talked about previous. She wanted to do music therapy. She wanted to use her talents, her skills, and help creative aging and doing therapy through music. And so she went ahead. She found the school she really wanted, a very top-notch East Coast school. It was there was expense to it, as any out-of-state colleges are, but it had what she wanted. And 2 years later, I can tell you, there was happiness in her voice. She was super excited. She was doing what she wanted. But here's the kick: the first 2 years she went, she already had incurred debt. Debt for a college that she wasn't going to finish at, debt for a degree she wasn't going to complete, and debt for a job she never really wanted. And unfortunately, a lot of her credits from that school did not transfer over um, to the new college. She actually had to start as a freshman in what otherwise would have been her junior year. Then she started to have to incur debt there. Now, mind you, she did get some great scholarships at that school because she is a very talented young lady, but she still has debts. She now has debts from two schools. And again, debt from a major she was never going to use. So, the moral of the story: we want you to truly be thinking and asking questions. We want you to be getting to know about you, because one of the best ways that you can maximize your money and not spend as much on college is to really make sure you're getting the job you want in the end, making sure the jobs are available that are going to pay you so you can use some of that money to pay off your debt, and making sure that you don't go into additional debt because you change majors partially way through. So, questions to think about. What do you love doing? What do you want to be or do when you grow up? How do you learn best? Is it in person? Is it uh, in a classroom? Is it in a classroom with 1,000 people? Is it in a classroom with 15 people? There's a total difference there. And where do you want to attend college? Do you want to be close to home, close to your family? Do you want to go out of state? And know these answers. And it's okay to say you want to go to a state. And yeah, it's going to cost a little bit more, but that's okay. But know these questions up front, because here's the thing: at the end of the day, you don't want to you don't want to be making this answer when you're at the college. Now, I've heard some people share before. Uh, Go ahead, find yourself. It's okay not to declare your major your freshman, sophomore year. Technically, this is true if those first 2 years you're at a community college and you're doing your getting your AA and you're completing your core classes of math, science, reading, writing. Those are going to be pretty much the same across the board no matter where you go. But you're paying a community college cost for that, which we'll talk about soon. But don't go to a state or a private college and start to discover those first 2 years and pay 10, 15, 20, $30,000 a year to discover what you love doing. What do you want to be when you grow up? Or how you learn best. Because at the end of the day, you may change your mind and be like, that's not really what I want, but you've already spent that money. So, very important on that part to maximize your investment. One of the library resources, we were going to really tout this throughout the day. It's called the Testing and Education Resource Center. This is available with your Buckeye Public Library System card. It is going to give you access to test preps to help you learn. And test preps, not only your ACTs, SATs, which we'll talk about later, it also gives you career test preps, firefighters, teacher test prep. Even cosmetology, different legals in there, doctor, MCATs in there. You can actually take those test preps, start to see what they're asking, start to see, is this really what you want? Equally important, and I'm going to just bring these up, should have done this first, the Peterson's Career Prep. This one here is the career assessment. Go ahead and start taking these. And guys, you're going to hear me say this several times in this presentation. Freshman year is not too soon to start. If you have a seventh or eighth grader, go ahead and let them go take this. Let them start exploring now. Let them spend seventh and eighth, and definitely ninth grade through 12th grade. Let them spend those 4 years discovering. And actually, by junior, senior year, you should be locking into the colleges. You should be reaching out to them, starting to get scholarships. So, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, do that career exploration. And equally in those grades, here's where I was talking a little bit earlier about the testing education, the SATs and the ACTs test preps, or the career test preps, I should say, the firefighter, the ASFAB, there's the military test prep here. Go check them out. Explore at this point in time as you get to know who you are, what you want to do, who you want to be, where you want to do this at. While you start to answer those questions and you're like, hey, I took my career assessments, I've taken some of those tests, I really like this area, then it's time for you to research colleges. And these are questions you need to be asking to maximize your investment on college, because you can get a lot more for the money that you do pay. So let's say at the end of the day, you're going to go to a college that is going to cost you 12, 15,000 a year. Make sure you find out if it's the college that costs 12, 15,000 a year, or that one that costs 20. Make sure you know what you can get for that money, because sometimes you might pay a little more but get a lot more. And here's some of those questions to be asking. Find out, does that college with those scholarships or the college offer a single major or double? Can you take all the classes you want? Can you do a single major and do a double minor that will help you be more versified, that once you graduate, you have a better chance of getting the job when you have that 1 to 1,000 ratio for that job? So make sure you're asking that question. My college did that. I had some friends actually do a double major, double minor. I did a major with a double minor, was able to get a well versed area. So be asking that question. Another one, do they offer internships? Not only offer, do they require it? Even better, that each summer you're required to go do an internship. Imagine your resume and what it's going to look like when you leave college and you have 3 years of internships behind you. Don't forget the power of internships. It's not just doing them, building a resume. You've now built a network of people who know you that can either be letters of references or come back to you and say, hey, when you graduate, we do have positions open, come and apply. Internships can lead to jobs. So make sure that your colleges are offering those or help you with that. A lot of times this comes through mentoring. Does your college have mentors and do they offer those? Make it easy for you. Freshmen up. Do they offer study abroad opportunities? A lot of students really want that. There's some study abroad opportunities that will allow them with certain majors that make it definitely worthwhile. Find out what their hands-on labs and experiences are. This goes back to that question that you need to know about yourself. How do you prefer to learn? Do you prefer learning at a desk, sitting there, nothing else, lecturing? That's the best way that you learn. Awesome. Now, for me, I knew I'm a hands-on person. I need to be moving, doing things, as you can see with my hands now. Um, be a hands-on lab. So the college I picked, I went to a college for mass communication, broadcast major. First day in, we were in the studio. That was important to me. When it came between that school and a larger school, I wanted the smaller school with a smaller class size where I had hands on. So we were on video cameras on the studio floor day one as a freshman, and it was so cool. And the requirement was we did have to do internships, and the requirement was by senior year we actually had to produce, direct, and put out a movie. And that's where my major became broadcast with an emphasis in documentary filming. Because when I researched the colleges, I knew that's what I wanted. Figure out what types of technologies that they have. Figure out if they have good technology. Are they up to date on those technologies? What are they offering? Okay. And these last two, I'm going to pull them both up at the same time. Job placement assistance and what is their percentage for this? So here's the thing, when you're looking at the colleges, you might even have to pay a little bit extra, or maybe you pay less. But here's the question, what is their job placement assistance? And what is the percentage of students who get the jobs? So you can ask them, hey, if I come and do a mass communication at your college, what percentage of students who graduate actually get jobs in that career? They have that data. They have those stats. Ask them that. If the answer is 5 or 10%, even they're offering you $15,000 scholarship, but only 5% actually get jobs, you may not want to choose that college because at the end, you may not get the most for your investment. And what is the percentage of, not just percentage, what is the assistance that they offer? Make sure that they're offering it, and not just at the junior, senior year. Make sure that they're helping you, mentoring you through it. Some schools don't have job placement assistance. If they don't, that might be a deal breaker for you because, again, most of us will give money one way or the other to a college. How much money we give and what we get back is so important. That's why these questions are there. Okay, invest now. Start as early as freshman year. You heard me say that. If you want to start at 7th and 8th grade, go for it, but definitely freshman year. If you're a senior watching this, it's okay. Start now. It's not going to be as easy as if you were starting as a freshman, but there are things you can do. Take college classes. Check with your high schools. A lot of them have partnerships with your local community colleges that if you are at a certain stage, you can actually start taking college classes now that you won't have to take your freshman year, and it puts you ahead of the game. Those are 1, 2, 3 less college classes you have to take. Career exploration and job shadow. Start now in your freshman, sophomore, junior year. Start figuring out what you want to do. I remember in 7th or 8th grade, they required that we go do a job shadow one day. And I was for certain I wanted to be a lawyer. There were cool legal shows on TV. My uncle and cousins were lawyers. Like, that looks like a cool career. I went to the courtroom and I spent 8 hours there that day. I came home and I knew that day courtroom legal lawyer was not for me. I'm definitely somebody who likes to move around. I was bored, but that's me. Um, it is a great profession for many, but I realized it was not the profession for me. It's not what was right for me. So go out, do those career explorations. Ask if you can follow somebody for the day. Check with your parents, your friends, parents' friends, and see who can connect you to go and explore. So important. Internships, jobs similar to that in the summer during high school, go get those jobs and interns if they're available. And also, very important, select electives that will help you get a foot in the door in the scholarship in college. I've seen it where seniors come in. I've had it happen before where they're like, yeah, I want to go do coding. Great. Have you ever taken a coding class? No. Have you ever tried coding? No. but I really like coding. It looks really cool, and I hear you can make a lot of money. So here's the thing: when you go for scholarships, if it's the student who has been doing coding for 4 years or shows that they're on the code team and they've actually been in competition with coding versus the person who's never done anything, this puts them ahead. Invest now. Check it out. Do things. You want to get involved, get in the clubs, get in the organizations, do it on your own, create things. But definitely be doing things, choosing classes that are going to help you. If you're going to be a mathematician, make sure that some of your electives are geared towards special math electives. It'll show up on your transcripts. And volunteer, get involved. Investing now, if you want to be a veterinarian, make sure you're volunteering at shelters, animal shelters. Make sure you're volunteering at a local vet or helping them do spade and neutering, free spading and neutering to help people out. Volunteer your time and effort there. But get involved. This shows up on your transcripts, it shows up on when you're applying, it allows you to answer questions when you're filling out essays. This is all experience. When you invest now, it helps out for later. So, once you know what you want to be and you want to know where you want to go, you are now going to know the cost that it's going to be. Now we can really start figuring out, how am I going to approach this? Now, I pulled up these. This is from the College Board's trends. This is actually pricing from 2019 to 2020 on average. And you can see it's a lot of money. They do include in this graph, what I love about this one, it does include your tuition fees, your room and board, books and supplies, as well as travel and expenses, and the total. Now, what I want to look at though for right now is technically the tuition and fees. So, public college. If you look at that, you'll see that public college, the 2 year, that's going to be your community college, is a lot less than your public 4 year college, definitely less than your public 4 year college out of state, and way less than your private college out of state or in state. So, the important part here we want to point out where you can maximize your money. If you don't know what you want to do or what you want to be yet, and you're still exploring come your senior year, it's okay to go ahead and look at your community college, especially here in Arizona. Our community colleges are top notch. They are really good, really well, and there's several of them all around. So the other cool thing is, several years ago, their president of our community college system got together with our different state colleges, and they made an agreement that you could attend the 2 year college, community college, get your AA, your math, reading, writing, arithmetic, all those basics that you would have to do at the state colleges. And then you can get that AA and transfer it to your state college. That means you get your AA at Estrella Mountain Community College, you transfer to ASU or NAU or U of A. And after, when you transfer there, you're actually going to complete your major, what it is you're going for. And after the 4 years, you get that full certification from the college. That means you would graduate from U of A, from ASU, or NAU with a full degree from there, but paying only 2 years of in-state college and 2 years of community college. So you can see right there, those first 2 years, you pay approximately a little under about $7,000, $8,000 for your first 2 years. The next 2 years, then you would pay that $20,000, but you save a little over $12,000, if not more. So right there, maximizing your investment without even doing scholarships yet. That is just a choice you get to make that helps save you money. Okay, so right there, it shows you with the complete. And the thing is, though, there are still students who are like, yeah, but I really do want to go to this 4 year college. I get 4 years of experience, 4 years of intern, the job placement, I get mentoring. Absolutely. If that's your choice, great. But here's the thing you need to do to maximize your investment. If you know that the college you want to go to, your sophomore year, you call them, you email them, you get with a counselor right off the bat. You ask them, what scholarships are available that I can apply for? When do I need to apply for them? And can I see past recipients? What other opportunities do you have for financial aid for me? Start having that conversation with them, start creating a network with that college, start forming a relationship with that counselor so they can help you get as much as you can from that college. Keep this in mind. Majority of colleges, they get money if you show. And they know, we saw that earlier, 63% were applying for scholarships, right? If not more. Um, They know majority of students cannot afford college straight out. So by knowing that, they know they need to help you connect with funding to get you to that school. Because however you get those scholarships, that's money in their pockets. So work with them, call them, contact, reach out to them. Okay, so knowing your options, there's a couple other ones. Trade schools. We have an amazing trade school out here. It's called Westmec. And I am going to go ahead and I would like to go ahead and click on that real quick. Westmec is out here. We definitely have one over here in Buckeye. Westmec specializes in some great things for high school. You actually attend high school, get your core classes in the morning, in the afternoon you go to Westmec. And there's several different programs and campuses around, including one out here in Buckeye. But when you go look here, Westmec has all these different careers that you can go out to. Everything from air conditioning, automotive, technology, aviation. I believe that one's out in Glendale. Coding. We have cybersecurity right here at the Buckeye one. Nursing's also there. Even nuclear. They've partnered with the Palo Verde nuclear power plant. So you could go here, take any of these. Look at these programs. I wish. Oh my gosh, I wish these were there when I was growing up. I was in Colorado, but still, I would have loved any of these. Any of these programs you can take. I'm going to go back to our presentation here real quick. Any of those programs you can take. And when you take them, um, the cool thing is that you can take some of them are a lot of them are 2-year programs that when you complete, you have a couple options. One, if you know that's what you want to do and B, you can go right out and start to get a job in that area. In fact, a lot of them will offer jobs to you. Nuclear power plant, you can go through, you prove yourself, you do it, you have the chance to interview with them for them. Um, Automotive, a lot of mechanics and auto shops are needing that help, especially BMW engines. And I bring that one up because I actually had a friend, her son did so well in the Westmec automotive program. He graduated top of his class, and when he was done, he was offered a job. And I believe that job was starting at 40,000, 45,000. It was near what I was making after many years of in the schools and stuff. Nothing wrong with that. The fact is, it's great because he knew what he wanted to do. He had the skills to do it. He became very specialized in what he was doing, and the job was there for him. And so, know your options. This is a great one. Another important thing about the trade schools or schools like this or Westmec, when you get that and get into the businesses, if they hire you right out, a lot of those businesses, once you've been with them for at least a year, 1 to 2 years, will then go ahead and invest in your college. So you can start taking college courses, earn your AA, earn your college degree, and they'll pay for you to get that degree while you're working for them. So another really cool thing to know. And of course, military. A lot of great students will go ahead and this is their area. They know this is what they want to do. So look at the military scholarships as well. Again, if you go ahead and get the link to this presentation in the YouTube description. You'll have the links to each one of these. But each of our branches of the military do offer tuition assistance in different ways. So check those out and make sure you know the right questions to be asking. And of course, any of them you can talk to the recruiting to find out how that plays back with your college. Know your options, maximize. The last thing I'm going to show you here in this area, in this section that we're doing, the student parent checklist. So after you have all this stuff to try to keep on track, you don't want to miss deadlines. You don't want to miss certain important moments that you should be doing, which could lose you money or opportunities as well. So we do have the testing and education parent checklist. When you go there, you're going to go ahead and see that it pops you up. And I think if I click here, we'll actually be able to go there. You'll see here, it gives you a really cool parent checklist with it that you can go ahead and click on them. If I click on grade 10, you can pop that open and it tells you what you should be doing in the fall, the winter, the spring. It tells you what you should be taking and highlights that for you. And what I love about this checklist, not only do they have the student checklist, they also have the parent checklist. So if I go to grade 12, again, they're getting a little bit more deeper because there's a lot more that you need to be doing. And they tell you exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it. So be watching for that. So again, the parent checklist, a great thing from our Testing and Education Resource Center with your Buckeye Public Library System card. Make sure to take advantage of that. Okay, so now that we've figured out some great ways to maximize the money that we can go ahead and not spend or get the most for our money, we still want to find funding. And so I want to go ahead and highlight some areas that you can get financial assistance. First, the FAFSA, also known as FAFSA, which also makes you able to get work study. This one does have a link to a video if you get this presentation. But basically, FAFSA, you want to fill this out because it allows the colleges to identify what your needs are, and if you have a certain amount of needs, how much money they're able to give you based on those financial needs based on your family. So when you do fill out FAFSA, heads up, not super fun. It's like 100 questions, a lot of very in-depth financial questions, especially of your parents. The good news, it's all online now, though. There's even an app for it, so that's super exciting. But make sure to fill it out. One of the cool things it's gonna, if you are eligible, is work study. That if you get that, basically work study, if you go to the colleges and campuses, if you're eligible, ask about work study. What this is, you can go ahead and get a job on campus. Federal funding goes to those colleges to pay for certain jobs so that the colleges and universities can operate. These jobs include you got the kitchen staff, maintenance. So you also have your computer labs. I even had a friend when I was in college. She was an equestrian. We have an equestrian program, top notch in the nation. Of course, we need to keep those stables going. So she had the ability to do work study at the stables in the equestrian program. I actually did the computer lab, so I was fortunate enough to get a job there my first year. Worked the labs all 4 years. By my senior year, I was actually the head supervisor or student supervisor for the labs across the entire campus, building my resume, getting paid. I got 20 hours a week. That money was back in my pocket. I got paid the minimum wage at that time, whatever that was, through the work study. That's money that comes to my pocket. I can use it for my student loans. I can use it for my books, my food, my boarding. I can use it for my transportation. I can use it to get that pizza at midnight to study for the test. Work study money, basically, it is a paycheck to you for you to be able to use to help with different stuff. So get that FAFSA done. Make sure you're asking about work study. Hopefully, that's additional money into your pocket. One of the core things, we'll be talking about this in its own section, but scholarships. This is money that's given to you through different agency groups, businesses, nonprofits, profits. A scholarship, when you receive it, you don't have to pay it back. One of the most common types of scholarships that is out there is called the merit scholarships. And the merit scholarships fall in academic, athletic, or artistic. Academic merits, usually that will stem from when you do take those state tests. If you score very high or a certain level with an academic and based on financial needs, they will reach out to you to let you know that you have qualified for a merit scholarship, academic merit scholarship. But ask your counselors about that, be on the know about that, and we'll come back to scholarships in a moment. The other big one is loans. A lot of people, majority of us, do need to take out loans for college. Again, we don't want to make it that, oh, I can't afford college, therefore I won't go, therefore I won't be what I want to be and do what I need to do and use my talents, my skills, my passion to make a better world. We don't want that. So it's very important for y'all to know too that if you do need to take out a loan, that's okay. Talk with your financial advisor or talk to the bank, talk to the school, but make sure you're asking questions. And here's the big one. Loans are money that are lent to you that you need to repay. But if you're a student and you're getting a loan, there's an special interest rate for students. In 2021 right now, the approximate um, uh, interest rate for an undergraduate student right now is 2.75%. If you're a parent needing to take out that loan, again, you have a special interest rate for you as well as graduates, those who are going for their master's or for the doctorates. You have a special interest rate. So make sure to be asking about those type of loans that are out there. Go talk with your banker and or school to see who they can connect you to make sure that you're getting a good interest rate for the loans. Scholarships. Let's talk about these now. Most people are like, oh my gosh, I thought this whole thing, I wanted to find the money. Usually that's the question we get. Hey, I want to go to school, but I need to get money, so I need scholarships. What we found out when we first did this program, scholarships, that's later in the game. Again, we want to know what you want to be. We want to know where you want to go. An in-state school versus an out-of-state school, two different costs. One's more expensive, so you'll need more scholarships. One is less. We want to make sure you know what you are wanting to do. If you want to be the oceanographer and you're scuba diving and you're doing all these things, you've become that person. You need to know that you're that person because there's scholarships for that. So that's why we put scholarships towards the end of this program. We want you to know there are big and small scholarships. There's a variety of scholarships based on who you are, and there's the one-time and annual scholarships. And we're going to go over a few of these. First of all, there's big ones, but they are more competitive and harder to get. And there are a lot of smaller ones. Don't um, tune out the smaller ones. There are not as many people applying for these. In fact, you got better odds of the smaller ones than the bigger ones. And imagine if you applied for 20 small $1,000 scholarships and you get 5 of those. You just made $5,000. Okay, applying for the small ones. Quick story. When I was applying, my parents were beyond awesome in encouraging me and helping me and guiding me. I would never have been where I was without them or my counselor helping me. But there were some great scholarships out there. My mom brought one to my attention one day. She's like, the VFW is doing a really cool scholarship on what does the American flag mean to you. So, like in good college nature, I filled out the application and wrote the story the night before it was due. I procrastinated way too much. Don't do that. I got it in on time though. I submitted it and I did spin. I played the music of while I wrote my essay. I got really into it, submitted it, and shortly after, I found out I won. I was first place, and they invited me to a special dinner. I got a special steak dinner. My parents got to go with me. And I think it was either 500 or 1,000. I can't remember. I think it was for 500, 500,000. It was a lot. As a high school kid, it was a lot. And I was first place. And I get there, and here comes the second place winner and her family, and then we eat our dinner, and then they announce us, and we're wondering where the third place, because there were at least 3 places, and we're like, that person didn't show. And when we asked, we found out only 2 of us applied. And I won first place out of 2. The point is, by doing it, you never know. I felt like it was a pretty good essay. I did beat out one person, so we'll take that. But the point is, you never know who's going to apply. Sometimes nobody applies. Sometimes there might only be 100 people applying, but you stand out versus 10,000 people applying. So please, 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 go for those small ones. Try them out. You never know. And so that's my story of going for the small ones. And it was a good steak dinner. Okay, we were also talking about the types of scholarships. There's a lot of different ones out there, and I'm not going to read all these, but I did highlight a few. The demographics, your age, your gender, your heritage, be looking for those type. And I'm going to show you some websites that actually will ask you those things and help connect you with those special ones. First generation scholarships. There's some great ones out there for that. If you're the first kid in your family to go, you actually are a leg up on some other people where that's not the case. Go for those. We talked about the merit scholarships earlier. Also, military scholarships. If you or sorry, your parents or your grandparents or your spouse, maybe you're going back to college, you can go look up military scholarships that you are eligible for. And then even I love the physical attributes. I highlighted that one. There's scholarships out there for tall people, short people, blonde, left-handed, blue-eyed. I love the left-handed. That is what I am. There is actually a scholarship out there for left-handed people. Another one, and I don't know if I highlighted it on there or even put it on there. Mascots. If you're a mascot at your high school and you're doing that, there is a scholarship just for you. Gaming. If you love gaming, there's at one time it was a $10,000 scholarship for a card game, a Wizards card game out there. But it was a bunch of gamers came together. They charged people to play a special game every year. That money was collected, and then they would do that $10,000 scholarship out there. So many cool things. But special interests, I didn't highlight that, but I would say the special interests, be watching for that. Your talent, skills, there's scholarships for that. So a lot of great things that are out there for you. So let's search. How do we do this? So we know who you are. We know what you want to be. Or at least we have a better idea of all this. We know what college or colleges you're thinking about. And we know how much those colleges are going to cost. So that helps us figure out how much scholarship do we need to get. So where to find scholarships? A lot of different places here. Again, not going to read all them off, but definitely we do have books at the library. You're welcome to check those out or online. I have highlighted a couple here, though. I do encourage you. Prospective colleges. If you know what college you want to go to, call them, email them. We talked about that earlier. Don't underestimate your counselor's advisors. I know they're super busy and their ratio of students is large. If you're a freshman or sophomore, it's okay to go to them, talk to them, and say, hey, I'm very interested. I'm I'm starting early. If you have scholarships come across your desk, please keep me in mind. They may be only focused on junior and seniors at that time, but if you take that initiative, a lot of times it's on their radar. If that one comes across, they'll bring it to you. I will vouch for this one, and I will vouch for it because Kent Warrion. I remember my counselor from my high school time, Kent Warrion. Not that you're watching or ever watches, but a special shout out to you from Colorado. I was on his radar. He knew it. And he was so good that come my junior year, I'll never forget walking down the hallway and him shouting, Van Leeuwen, over here. He knew I loved um, music theater. He knew that I loved communication. He knew that I was looking more for a smaller school. And he brought attention to a scholarship for this all women's college in Columbia, Missouri. And he said, have you ever thought about an all women's college? I was like, well, no. He goes, I'm going to encourage you to apply for this one. It was a partial full ride. So basically, at that time, the college cost $18,000. Um, so it would pay for about 10,000 a year with some addition. He told me to go ahead and apply. So I did. My junior year, I was accepted to the interview, got my application in, did the interview, and went out and competed. They had me do an interview out in Missouri, did it. By the end of, by the end of my junior year, I had been accepted. I had the partial full ride, and then I could go looking for some smaller scholarships to help me out. But that's because Kent Warrion, my junior year, did that. So please, please contact your counselors, advisors, be on their radar. Organizations as well, local, state, national. You got your Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you got your nonprofits, your Elks, your VFWs, Rotaries, your Daughters of the American Revolution, your women's clubs. Here in Buckeye, the Women's Club has one. Check out those organizations. And of course, websites. And of course, start at your library, the Testing and Education Reference Center. Please check it out. We got that college planning where you saw the checklist. You got your, but also you got your practice tests. And then if you go there, you can go to college prep. And as you can see, there's actually a link there for college and scholarship search. So use the Testing and Education Resource Center. Scholarship websites. There's several out there. These are some of my top favorite ones. And of course, the stars are my absolute favorite ones. FastWeb and Unigo have been around for a while. FastWeb has been there since I was in college. Now I'm dating myself. But FastWeb, I will attest to this one. Not only do they do scholarships, they do internships. When I went to FastWeb in 1999, I was doing it. I found it while working my work study job on the college campus, and it was for internships. And there was one for the Discovery Channel. And I'm like, I'm going to try. And I went to the studio, filmed what I needed to do, submitted my VHS tape. Yes, VHS. Submitted it. And before it was about a month before graduation, I received the news. I had been accepted that summer, my senior year, done with college, but my senior year, I would be interning for the Discovery Channel. And it was an amazing experience. So that all happened through FastWeb. But they have millions of dollars that come through there. I almost equate these sites almost like a dating site, but they're not connecting you with a date. They're connecting you with scholarships. And so I'm going to go ahead and click here on FastWeb just to kind of give you an idea. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. You will go ahead and sign up for it. It takes probably about 15-20 minutes. They are going to ask you a bunch of questions. And I'm going to go ahead here and log into that just so you can kind of get a gist of it. And because I answered all the questions based on who I was, it actually connects the types of scholarships I'll be ready. And once I come here, you can go ahead and see they have different ones. They give you the name of the scholarship and a link that if you go into it, you can go ahead and get on there. It tells you what the award is worth as well as the deadlines, and it lets you see the details of the status. Have you applied for it? Are you still working on it? Is it something that you're not interested, or even better, you received it? So this is a great place to go. You can also go ahead and search for other ones up here, and as well as scholarships and internships. I'm going to head back here to our presentation. Unigo, I'm going to go ahead and click on that one too. It's another one of my favorites. When you come in here, I love how it's done. You have some different things as well as additional info on college and such. I'm going to go ahead and click on scholarships. So notice it does give you some different ones. You can explore your college scholarships. I can scroll down and find some different ones. Notice there you can do it by major, There's that merit-based already there, and different ones in categories. So if I click high school students, there are some ads there. You can go ahead and cycle through that. You'll be able to find them, but this is how I love it, is that it breaks it down: scholarships for high school freshmen, for high school juniors. So look at that. Start as a freshman, there's already scholarships there for you. And there's your seniors. It tells you how many scholarships are in there, how much they're doing. I'm going to go ahead and click this for our seniors who might be watching. When I come in here, again, similar to what we just saw, it does tell you the name of it, tells you how much money they're putting out, and how many awards they're going to do. So 285 divided by the 27. And the deadline. So that one is actually already passed, but you'll find some different ones on there. I'm not sure why we're seeing all the October ones, but the other thing that you want to do is make sure that when you do look at these, make sure that you're watching for the information on it. Here's one, AOPA student. This is the aviation, which we actually bring out to our airfare. So this is cool. I love the scholarship. The AOPA, notice it's a one award, $3,000, who are pursuing private recreational sport pilot. Make sure you read this. And here's a great why: students must be members of women in aviation. So if you're a guy, don't apply for this one. So very important that you read the scholarships, check the deadlines, and then you can get more information on it. If you log in, you actually would be able to save that scholarship, and again, track it. So this is another great site. It's called Unigo. I definitely encourage you to check that out. One other one I want to show you, whether you know it or not, textbooks super expensive. They can actually be almost as much as a class sometimes. And a student that I gave this presentation to over 4 years ago brought this one up to me, and I share it anytime I can. Chegg is a great place. You can either find lower cost textbooks, or even now do online, almost like a Netflix streaming service type with textbooks. Pay X amount per month and get access to X amount of books. So Chegg is a great place to go check this out, because books can be very expensive. So be checking on that. And they have some other cool stuff there too. Okay, so check out these scholarship websites. You've heard me say it before. The link to this presentation is in the YouTube description. Click it so you can access this, to make it really easy to go get these scholarship links. Or, of course, feel free to just type it into Google and you'll find it that way too. Okay, there's that fast web example. And the other one, I tell people, don't ignore the internet. Go to Google, type in what you want to look for. In this case, I have a fun one: scholarships for left-handed people. And so put that in. Now, the one caveat I do want to point out: please, please, please be cautious of fake and false scholarships. Using Google doesn't mean that that scholarship is real. One way to double check it, I'll go ahead and do it this way, but then once I find one that looks really good, I'll take the name of that scholarship, and then I'm going to write the word scam after it with a question mark. When I hit enter, Google pulls up and shows me if there's any information that that scholarship might have been reported as a scam or maybe a scam. I did that one with this one actually yesterday, because I always like to try to bring some fresh scholarships to this presentation. And I typed in Arizona scholarships based on academics, looking for those merit scholarships. When I did it with Google, I did look for scam. It was not there, but what it did find me was this really cool site. I'm going to pop this up: 15 best Arizona scholarships. What's really cool about this site here, it comes through the College Review Board. Not only can you find the scholarships, it lets you also search for colleges where it might be most suitable for you. But look in here, you got some really cool ones that you can come and look, and gives you that eligibility. Remember, look for that always. And if you think that this is for you, go ahead and click on that scholarship website. So definitely take a look, but there's some neat ones if you're looking at Arizona scholarships and staying in state. This might be a great link for you. Okay, so back to our presentation. And look at big companies too. I just want to point this out. These are 4 of them. There's a lot of other ones. I know I've seen them through Tylenol as well, and some other big companies. I think Circle K at one point had some. But check the companies. Coca-Cola, look at the amount of money these guys are giving out each year on scholarships. So be checking for them as well. This slide here is just if you want to get some additional information to help. These are some great resources to check on. One of mine that I really liked, I thought this was pretty cool, the FinAid. You can actually go there and they have a college cost calculator. So as you start to figure out how much your college is going to be, they'll go ahead and help you figure out some of that info. So there's a really cool interactive calculator there. And yes, I did include the Buckeye Public Library system because that is important for you to have access to. Please use this as a resource, especially our Testing and Education Resource Center, which I will show you. And actually, I clicked too quick, how to get to right now. So I'm going to click on our website. On the back of your Buckeye Public Library system card, you will find the link to or the address to our card or to our site. Once you get down to there, you're going to go ahead and scroll down, and you're going to click on the purple digital friend. Once you click on them, you're going to go ahead, or her, you're going to go ahead and scroll down all the way to the bottom. Makes it super simple to find. Click on Testing Education Reference Center. By the way, when we were talking about career prep earlier, the career assessments, that's right here, right above. But if I click there, I'm going to say skip. At this point, you're going to be asked to type in your library card number. I'm already logged in, but this is where you go ahead and find that. So please, please, please definitely take advantage of that great resource through your library. Okay, scholarships. Final part, tips and best practices. As we round this out, as you start applying for those scholarships and you start applying for those schools, the search is on. Start early. You've heard me say it multiple times. Freshman's not too soon to look. Get multiple sources. If you go for a big one, great, but make sure you get some of those smaller ones too. Get profit, nonprofit, go state, use a college one, do a nonprofit one. Use multiple sources. The big and small ones, as we talked about, review it before applying. Have somebody look over it before applying. Make sure you get one chance to show your best, put your best foot forward. And always think, why not me? Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be tough. You're going to apply for a lot, and there's a lot you're not going to get. It's okay because you're going up against a bunch of people. But ask, why not me? Because you may have a flag, what the American flag means to me situation. There might just be a couple of you applying, and it could be you. So be watching for that. Things to do. Make sure you treat this like a job. Set goals. Set days and times that you're going to apply for this scholarship. You might say every Sunday you're going to look for scholarships or colleges. And every Thursday you're going to set aside 2 hours to go ahead and apply for those. So treat it like a job, because remember, at the end of the day, if you succeed at this job and you apply for 20 and one of them is a $5,000 one, out of those 20 and you get one and you get that 5,000, remember, because you were working so hard, you were investing time, you were volunteering, you were doing an intern, you were doing all those things ahead of time, you were taking electives towards that scholarship or that job, that degree. Because you did all of that, you stood up, you treated it like a job, and at the end of the day, you get money in return for it because of all the work you did. Now, no guarantees it will fully happen. That's the one thing with the scholarship search, but it does give you a better chance of having it happen. So treat it like a job. Check frequently. Don't just check one time and say one and done. I tried. Game over. Check frequently. Meet all deadlines. They are not forgiving of deadlines. If it's due at 11:59 tonight, turn it in the day before. You don't want to run into any situation where the technology glitches or your computer glitches. Meet the deadlines and actually be early on them. Presentation does matter. Your teachers have been preparing you for this. Your name goes on it. Complete sentences. Make sure you're not using whiteout. Not that that's happening anymore. It's all digital for the most part. But presentation matters. And answer those questions. If they ask you something, answer it carefully. Make sure that you answer what they're asking. Now, and this is a fun part. This kind of ties in with it, knowing your audience. When you're answering those questions, know the audience. If it was the library, know their mission and value. Our mission value, we strive to inspire, engage, and connect. So then when you're writing, if you're an oceanographer degree, you may say, I strive to inspire people to better understand the ocean and the climate control behind that, and I want to connect them with resources on how to better take care of our world. All of a sudden they're reading that like, wow, we like to inspire, engage, connect too. So you're speaking their language because you know your audience. So it's important that you look up their mission, look up their vision statements, and tie that in when you're answering those questions. And get creative. Creativity counts, especially if it's a creative school. I'm going to share a quick story. When I did my scholarship for that women's college, I wasn't a great writer. That was not my thing. I love playing the piano. I love composing music. So they asked the question and I started writing it, but there was something in me that I was like, I want to do this differently. So what did I do? I went and composed a song. I took the question they asked me and I put it into song. I wrote it down. I did the whole sheet music, the staff music, and I wrote in lyrics. And I had 3 verses in there. Those 3 verses were answering the questions they were asking. Now, after I wrote the song, I still needed to make sure I answered the question carefully and completely. So I took my lyrics, I put them into an essay form, and then I attached my sheet music with my essay. And oh my God, dating myself again, my cassette tape that I recorded the song onto, and that's what I submitted. When I later found out in the interview, which garnered me the partial full ride that I competed against several others on, and I'm very grateful to have gotten it, they brought up mine stood out from the others. Not everybody went ahead and wrote a song. So be creative when creativity counts, as long as you're answering those things. If you're going for a coding scholarship, you may want to go ahead and code something. Answer their essay, put it there, but code something with it. Give them a site that you're coding to. Tell them that within the essay, check out this code. Okay? And document, keep track. Although the other websites will do it, make sure you're keeping track of those deadlines, what you've got, what you still need to get, who you've applied to, and who you haven't. What you do matters. You've heard me say this before. Invest now. Your activities, your clubs, get those awards. Civic organizers. What do I mean by that? Get involved in your community, help out. Maybe you're joining your youth council. I know every city has a youth council. Maybe you're running a food drive or an awareness campaign to recycle and make a better environment. There was a story that happened a couple weeks back in this past election. It was really cool. It was down in Florida. It was a high school student whose grandmother, they were very worried about her with COVID. And she realized that the point is she learned in her civics class that all the majority of volunteers at the polling, majority of them happen to be elderly. And she realized a lot of elderly people cannot nor should be going out there into the COVID world. But in order to have our elections happen, we need to make sure that there's volunteers there. So she put out that word to all of her friends and used her social media and Republicans, Democrats, liberals, green, no party affiliation. She didn't care who you were high school wise. She put out the call to come and help. And she did. She recruited, I think it was 100+ people. She was a high school student doing this. Now imagine that being put on her resume because she identified a problem, she identified a need, she identified how her community could benefit, and she did it for free, volunteering, and brought her community together. So that's another one. Another big one I like to point out: the entrepreneurial, be innovative. Maybe you start your own dog walking company. Maybe you're out there wanting to do your own babysitters club that all of a sudden you've organized and you have a staff of 5. There was another really cool one here recently. It was a father who challenged his son to, I think, invent I forgot how many things, 10, 15, 20. I don't remember what it was over X amount of time. Well, he was on such an entrepreneurial, innovative spree, he ended up with one of the ideas becoming so amazing, so incredible that he actually has now a patent pending. And I think he's like 7th, 8th grade freshman. He was super young, and all I thought is this kid has a patent pending. Imagine applying with a patent pending. So what you do now matters, as well as other things. Even I have on there publishing papers. A lot of your high schools will have the ability, if you're going into science or math fields, you may want to go ahead and work on getting a paper published now in high school. I met a couple teens several years ago. They were in high school. It was a charter school. I forgot which one it was, but they were required to publish a paper, and they did it based on a family's needs. In a poor area in Mexico, there was no electricity, and they had candles, but the candles would burn through pretty quick throughout the night. So they wanted to do a research paper on creating a candle that did not burn as quick, and they did. And they published that paper on that research effort. Imagine being a high school kid going into science field, having a published paper on an actual product that actually works. Amazing. So what you do now matters. Go impress them. What not to do. Don't overlook your college financial aid officer or guidance counselors. We talked about that. Thank you kept worrying, you get my thank you every time. Don't think that you have to be an academic or athletic superstar. You don't have to. You don't have to have the highest GPA, or you don't have to be the quarterback of the team. There's scholarships out there that are 2.5 GPA. They're looking at your talents, your skills. There's other ways to get scholarships. Don't send the same application over and over again. Check on those mission vision statements. Talk to that audience. Don't forget to answer the question. Don't wait until the last minute. We've talked about all these things. Don't turn in an incomplete application. You're done. Why spend time on that? Don't do it. And don't think it's impossible to win. You can. And again, go for the small ones. Even if it's $100 one, go for it. And don't be a victim of scholarship scams. I do want to finish with this one here. Beware of the scams that are out there. Remember, you're asking for money. You're not here to give money. And there are letters that will come out. They're not fully scams. There's one that says you've been selected based on how awesome you are and all the great things you've done, which is true. And if you pay us $50, you will then be eligible for a $1,000 scholarship. It's not a lie, but the thing is, they've sent that letter out to thousands of students. So really what it is that you're hoping that you're the one that is chosen out of the other 1,000. But in the meantime, you've paid that money to them. They're using your money and the other students to create that scholarship. Don't give money to get money. Be cautious of any guarantees are out there. Double check them, especially if it's coming off Google or a letter that guarantees you if you give them X amount, you'll get this. Double check it. Never give out your bank account or info or your social security number when you're applying for the scholarships to start with. Nonprofits, profits, businesses are not supposed to be asking you for that stuff. Your FAFSA will ask you for that. That's where the federal aid and government, and your college will ask for that if you've been accepted. Not the bank account, but the social security. You should not otherwise be giving that stuff out. And watch out for unsolicited offers. If they come to you and say, hey, you've been pre-selected for the scholarship, congrats, send us this info. Be cautious, be careful, be aware. That all said, you are going to start applying for colleges and scholarships. They are going to be asking you for your email, your high school, your grade, what college are you in, what are your interests. That's how they make money, because they're going to sell that back to the colleges that can then start recruiting and wooing you. So you are going to be needing to give some of that information. But be cautious of who you give it to, or and make sure that you're giving that info to a reputable place or organization, or that you reached out to them and you were like, yeah, here's my email. When in doubt, reminder, Google it, put in the word scam after it, and you can double check that way. Don't forget, even if you do give an email, you always have the ability to opt out. That is a requirement. Now, this idea came up, I do want to point out in the blue down there, this idea came up a while back. It was one of our participants. I loved it. A mother said what we ended up doing, because so much spam started coming into the emails, they actually created an email account just for the scholarship for the family that the parent and the kid had access to. So FastWeb, Unigo, you would create your account using that email, and you would check that account and keep track on it. That way, all that extra stuff that's going to be coming is going to go to that account, and your regular email doesn't get too watered down. Okay. Final slide. We've talked about a lot of things. I'm going to give you some challenges to some homework, if you will. It's your turn to go ahead and try some stuff. Go visit our Testing and Education Resource Center and go look up the checklist that best fits you. Start to figure out what it is you need to be doing where you're at. If you're a junior and just starting, you're going to want to check your freshman and sophomore checklist. So go do that. I also challenge you to go take the PETERSON'S career assessment. Go figure out what it is you want to do and double check and see what's out there and see the job projections for those. And I would also challenge you, sign up for one of those scholarship sites we talked about earlier, FastWeb, Unigo, scholarships.com. There's some other ones there. Sign up for at least one of them and start getting the feel of what's going to be happening as you start that search. Okay? So this brings us to our end of the College and Scholarship Roadmap. This has been a super fun journey with you. I know a little bit long. Hopefully you got some good info out of it. Again, it's an exciting road you all are on. It can be scary. It can be overwhelming. As you just saw in this presentation today, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. But it is fun, and it is amazing. And you have worked hard throughout your your preschool, kindergarten, through your senior year. You've worked hard. Now it's time to take everything that you've done, put it into play for the next 4 years that will then determine you on your career pathway. Again, my name is Janine Van Leeuwen. I'm with the Buckeye Public Library System in the great city of Buckeye. We thank you for joining us. If you should have any questions, feel free to email me, or of course visit our website to get to our Testing and Education Resource Center. In the meantime, we do hope that you are inspired, engaged, and connected as you enjoy this great college and scholarship journey that you're embarking on. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you later.